Good afternoon and welcome to our Spring 2009 Academic Policy Forum here at the James B. McNally Amphitheater at Fordham Law School. Our discussion today on the issues of civil rights and equality that the Center is presently working across the country with its partners and sister organizations.
The Office of Puerto Rico Federal Affairs has a very unique job, and that is to forge collaborations to understand the inequality of Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico and here in the United States, and the issues where people that are in Puerto Rico don't have the same rights to those here in the United States for a status that does not allow us to be able to enjoy those rights.
The stated objective is to examine the direction and ramifications of federal judicial and executive determinations regarding Puerto Rico, particularly the political, economic, and social consequences for the 4 million U.S. citizens in Puerto Rico. We have a very, very distinguished panel.
President-to-be Obama sent a letter to the governor of Puerto Rico expressing his support for self-determination for Puerto Rico, and Hillary Clinton issued a press release in which, among other things, she expressed her support for self-determination for Puerto Rico. First of all, what self-determination means. The more mysterious and difficult to understand option in the debate, the one that confuses outsiders, but also, frankly, confuses insiders, is enhanced It purports to combine the best of both worlds. So you look at the Constitution, it doesn't say anything about enhanced Commonwealth. What does that mean? When politicians say that they support self-determination for Puerto Rico, what they mean is Puerto Ricans have the right to choose among these options. It's really a cop-out to say that you support self-determination and leave it at that, and that is what we have seen. That it matters to resolve this constitutional question, and specifically if one is going to jump into the fray to take a position on this constitutional question, because there are 4 million U.S. citizens living in a U.S. territory, subject to U.S. sovereignty, subject to federal law, and unable to vote for representatives in the government that controls their daily lives.
Let me just make a few points here, beginning with why I have had this passion about Puerto Rico. When it comes to the status, it seems to me is not really a valid Well, what choice. Is a Commonwealth? I don't know that anyone can truly define it with any degree of certainty. So when that option is presented as a possibility to the people of Puerto Rico when they are voting, I think it is an effort, maybe deliberate, maybe unconscious, to deny them the true choice. They are misleading the people of Puerto Rico. And the true choice is, are you going to continue to be a territory with certain rights, but dependent on those rights being granted by people in Washington who you are not able to vote with, or are you going to become a state or independent? That when you say, I am for self-determination, it is a cop-out. I agree with you on that. They can't vote. They can't. They're U.S. citizens. They serve in this critical part of our society's ability to defend ourselves, but they can't vote for president. They can't vote for members of the U.S. House of Representatives who can vote. They can't vote for U.S. senators. That isn't right. And if you care about the health and well-being of all U.S. citizens, including those in Puerto Rico, to live at 1/3 the economic status of the rest of the country simply is not right. If I were to move to Vieques today, I couldn't vote for president or senator of the U.S. House of Representatives, and that's not right. But let me say that one of the major reasons is because of the status of Puerto Rico. Or they can have a true referendum that doesn't include what I believe is the false choice of a so-called enhanced Commonwealth that I think will never happen. Let them, as Governor Fortuno proposed when he was the representative in Washington. 2 choices. First of all, do you prefer the status quo, or do you want change? Then we will have certainty. Then we will have certainty. Then we will have an end to the current Puerto Ricans live with greater opportunity and greater rights.
However, while the focus of the government of Puerto Rico since January has been the economy, it is important that forums such as this start focusing renewed attention on the political status. The urgency of resolving our political status question becomes more apparent, and the need for academia's focus on Puerto Rico is as needed today as it was in 1899. That period was a period of change. Change. Cambio. In Puerto Rico, the electorate chose an agenda of change and elected the first clear pro-statehood majority government. The electorate chose change, but it elected a president whose racial, ethnic, and geographic background puts to the lie one of the old arguments that the U.S. would never accept a president who made the commitment, in his own words, and not merely in the text of carefully crafted political platforms, to resolve Puerto Rico's political status problem within his first term. No decision of our administration will create further roadblocks to the people's right to express their political status. There will be those who would rather do nothing, and those that believe in the status quo want nothing to prevail. When the time comes to decide, Puerto Rico will be ready. It's time to act, and I'm glad that you are all here. I'm glad that the Latin American Students Association, Law Students Association, and the Center are sponsoring this forum, and that this forum be a part of the academic discussion that should be generated as times of change are upon.
How appropriate it is for this event to be hosted at Fordham Law School. It's particularly appropriate that as you are re-examining those issues, that this is where you're doing it. Because the founder of the law school, the person whose chair I hold, was so concerned with this issue and knew how important it was that the territories, Puerto Rico, that the citizens should have full equal rights under the United States Constitution. And these cases, which are really of central importance, are really ignored. They are the leading cases that govern the status of 4 million people. You know, and there's one case that Teddy Roosevelt is interested in discussing with Oliver Wendell Holmes. It's the insular cases. It says, are the insular cases rightly decided? So this was the great constitutional law case of 100 years ago, and I really want to thank the Center for doing so much to bring it back front and center, and have us focused again on the insular cases and the question of the constitutional status of Puerto Rico. Congress cannot confer on Puerto Rico permanent Commonwealth status. That this is something that I'm just very glad that the Center is bringing back and getting people to focus on and talk about. You know, it's a fundamental constitutional question.
And let's fight. Let's fight for equality. Let's fight for our place in this society. Thank you.